you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. I mean, this is a situation where you can only be supported privately and not publicly. And I get it and I understand, but what people don't understand is it's going to stay with me for life no matter what. Yeah, I was found innocent, proved it, beyond the shadow of a doubt. But no matter what, that stigma follows you everywhere. That symbolic scarlet letter is probably going to be on me forever no matter what.
Have you been able to get a job or anything like that?
No, I haven't been able to find a job, a relationship, anything. After trying so hard for so long, I basically gave up on it. And this is...
Because everyone sees you as a sex offender.
Even though I was acquitted of everything, those charges are still on my record. They still show, and it's cost thousands of dollars to get them expunged, and I don't have a dollar to my name right now.
How many years ago did this happen?
This happened, we're going on the 3-year anniversary. I was made aware of the allegations on my 40th birthday, which was March of 22. That's how I spent my 40th birthday, being told I had allegations of sexual abuse against me.
With your daughter?
With my daughter, yes.
So how did this happen? Who said something to who?
The story kind of goes back to, I want to say late 2019, early 2020. My ex-wife fought me in court to move to Minnesota with a guy that she met online only months before. And I lost the case. They let her move. And from 2020 on, my daughter was away from me and I saw her very little. I was supposed to see her once a month, but of course that didn't happen.
What's your relationship like with your ex-wife?
Horrible. Yeah, she hates me and she's very vindictive and has proved it by doing this. So it started then, and when my daughter left, she was a sweet little girl that loved horses, Littlest Pet Shop, The Legend of Zelda. She was as innocent and sweet as can be.
Describe your relationship with your daughter at the time.
It was awesome at the time. Like, she was attached to my hip, nothing but love, good times all the time. We had a lot of fun. She's got an older brother and a younger sister. We were always together. Every time we spent time together, all 4 of us were always together. We did a lot of stuff. We had a lot of friends with kids their age we hung out with a lot. I mean, it wasn't perfect all the time, I'm sure. I haven't always been as financially strong as I wanted to be, but I was still always there and took care of her. Then after them being gone in Minnesota for a couple of years, things had started to change. She changed dramatically. And then before I know it, she sent me a message saying, "Hey, Dad, can you buy me some stuff on Amazon?" I said, "Sure, what do you want?" And she sent it to me and I sent it to her. And that was the last thing I heard from her. And then 2 weeks later, I found out that she accused me of sexually abusing her.
And nothing like that ever happened?
Not even remotely close to. Never. I mean, what hurts the most is it's something I'm not even remotely capable of. I've been known for being awesome to children. I've been told that I should work with them, teach them. One of my exes used to urge me to be a musical therapist, like the guy that goes through sick kids in the hospital and stuff, just because, growing up as a kid, for me and my family, we were like that to all the kids in our family. So my older brothers all raised me up that way. They were great to me. And so, we always have time for a kid because a lot of times people didn't have time for us. And I carried that on as a parent, and it's just so goddamn fucking, like, I can't even describe how much it hurts knowing that my daughter's gone. She's gone. Probably forever, and there's really nothing I can do about it now.
Today's video is sponsored by BetterHelp. I work every day. I don't take sick days. Some days everything falls into place, and other days it just doesn't. We've all been there. Life has its ups and downs, and that's just how it goes. When things feel heavy, having the right support makes all the difference. A therapist can help untangle external pressures from internal thoughts, turning stress into personal strength. Therapy is a great tool for learning how to process emotions, build healthy boundaries, and develop ways to cope with social anxieties and everyday pressures. It can also help you set goals that truly fit your life. Getting started is simple. You fill out a short questionnaire online, and BetterHelp will match you with one of more than 30,000 licensed therapists with diverse specialties and backgrounds. If the match isn't right, it's no problem. You can switch therapists anytime at no extra cost. And the best part, you don't have to wait for the right time. Any day can be the start of something better. So if you're feeling stuck, click on the link in the description or visit betterhelp.com/softwhite underbelly to get 10% off your first month of therapy. Because taking care of yourself isn't about waiting for perfect. It's about showing up for yourself every day. Thank you for watching. And now back to the video.
Mark, the accusations of what I allegedly did were tickling my daughter, smacking her on the butt, and having my hand on her leg. It's in all the documents. It's in the police report. It's everywhere. You look at those. I was charged with 6 felony counts of criminal predatory sexual assault. My ex-wife has everybody believing that there was actual sex acts going on. I got people that message me all the time saying, "Oh, you fucked your daughter and you raped her and you did this and do that," and they don't know any details. I come to find out my ex-wife is telling everybody that, and that's not even what my daughter said. And then she gets on the stand and the prosecutor says, "So your dad stuck his hand down your pants and touched your vagina, right?" She goes, "No, I never said that. He never did that." But he touched your breast, right? "No, I never said he did that." She did. But he did smack me on the butt. 148 years for smacking your daughter on the butt. And I'm not even saying I did it. What father hasn't? Out there, if you're a dad, you tell me. This might make you think differently. It's a different world now. You mean to tell me they can lock you up in prison for tickling your daughter, smacking her on the butt, and you get charged like you're Jeffrey Dahmer or something? I don't know any famous child molesters. Sorry, I can't cite one. I don't know one to name. I'm sorry about that, but it's that easy. And I'm proof of it is that easy for somebody just to say you did something. He did it. Oh, it has to be true. Throw the book at him. Let's not even look into it. Let's not even investigate him. Let's not do any bit of legwork. Oh, she said he did it. He did it. Oh, he put his hand on her leg and tickled her. Life in prison, 148 years. Go ahead.
And what do you think happened with where these allegations came?
I'll probably never know. But through my investigation of her social media and messages and things like that, I think her mom probably had a lot of influence. Her mom works in social services, like DCFS or CFS, Child Protective Services, things like that. That's what she does for a living, ironically. And I had noticed online, like on TikTok, my daughter was falling in with a group of sexual assault victims. Let me say, I am totally sensitive to sexual assault victims. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way of anything I say at all. I am very passionate about that. If there's anybody out there that has gone through that, reach out to me. I'll talk to you. I've got a different perspective. I'm a victim of a whole other side of it that's never talked about. The wrongfully accused, falsely accused. I don't know if I ever used that term right, but it is what it is. And it just, like, you can't even wrap your head around it sometimes. And now I'm in a position where, sure, I'm free. I proved it. They reported me on the news. When I was first arrested, they reported me as, "Oh, look at this monster," right? And I had 6 counts against me.
And this was in the news?
This was in the news. Oh, yeah. Locally in central Illinois, where I'm at. But when I was acquitted, the story changed from he was a monster to it was a man who fought for his life against a non-credible witness and overcame it. So that was kind of nice.
But the undoing of the damage,
yes,
it pales in comparison to the damage that happens when this news comes out, right?
Absolutely. And even though I've got so much support, man, like I had a bunch of people pull together just to get me out here. I wouldn't be here.
Your friends pulled up a bunch of money to fly you out.
Yeah. And
I offered to do that for you, but you didn't want to accept it.
Yeah. I really thought, this is such a big opportunity, Mark, and what you do is so great for everybody out there. I admittedly didn't know about you. before this. Ironically enough, another production company had reached out to me and wanted to do a documentary with me about this. We shot it. Everything went great. And at the last minute, they went, we just can't do this. We don't want to be associated with this. We think it's too risky and all this stuff. I was heartbroken. Like I didn't ask for that. They came to me for that. I was feeling like, wow, I finally have a chance to actually say something on my own behalf, which I never had before. And then everybody recommended you. And I'm like, there's no way, right? This guy's not going to want to talk to me. And you got back to me less than 24 hours. We talked, and here I am. Yeah.
Tell me what you were going through when this first kind of hit the news and hit your life.
When this first happened, like I said, on my 40th birthday, happy birthday to me, just shell-shocked.
Were you working?
Yeah, I was making about $100K a year, was doing really well. I was in the process of hiring my replacement to be moved up in the company, and they were going to double my salary. And I was looking for, they said, all right, you need to go out and find Matt or better so we can move you up. And I'm like, well, how the hell am I supposed to do that? But I was doing that, and then the allegations came. I wasn't arrested until 4 months later. We're sitting around waiting because they had nothing. There's no evidence. There's all the witnesses that she named, they were never interviewed, and they're my kids, and they all vehemently denied everything. And 4 months goes by, and me and everybody else are thinking, there's no way this is going to happen. They're going to drop this. There's nothing there. Hearsay. Just he did it. That's it. I get home from work one day in late July. I get out of the car. They swarmed me, arrested me, took me to jail. And I was there for 65 days on a $1 million bond. And once again, my friends and family came up with $100,000 to get me out of jail. And they're all in debt now to help me overcome this. And that feels fucking horrible too, even though I'm so grateful for it. But a lot of people stuck their neck out for me, man, and they're in debt forever. My friend sold her house to get me out of jail.
What happened to your job?
I was fired because I was arrested. Flat out. When I got out of jail, I was out for, 6 months or so, and I was talking to my dad, and he said, did you ever try to file for unemployment? And that just doesn't compute in my brain. I've never done that before. If I needed a job, I just went and got one. I didn't even know how to do it. And then he suggested it, and I didn't have any other options at the time, so I did that. And I reached out to my former employer, and I just said, hey, why did you guys fire me? They said, we fired you because you were arrested. I sent that to unemployment. They were like, all right, you're paid for 6 months. So that helped me for a while, but then after that ran out a long time ago. So
even though you were proved innocent?
I wasn't proved innocent until years later. This all started I was told in March of 22. This just ended in November of 24. They postponed my trial. My first trial date was September of 2023. The state's attorney's office in McLean County in Illinois delayed my trial for 14 months because they didn't have anything. They were waiting for something new to come up that would never come up, and they wanted to make my life miserable. And they did a good job of doing it.
What were your feelings when you were sitting there in jail for all that time?
Will I ever get out? It's going to cost $100,000 to get out, and I've never seen that. My family's not rich. I mean, we're working class, blue collar. My dad was a heating and cooling guy for 30 years. Like, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich, and I'm thinking, man, I might never get out of here, And if I wouldn't have bonded out for $100,000, I'd have been there for 2.5 years for something I didn't do. Even the inmates I was in there with, they took a look at me. I was in there with real life child molesters. Nobody talked to them. Nobody messed with them, but they did with me. And they didn't find out why I was there until a few weeks after I was there. One guy pulled me to the side one day because he saw that I was, worried about it. And I'm like, man, I'm not going to, make you guys look bad by talking with you. You make friends in there. You don't have a choice. And he pulled me to the side, and all the real, abusers and child molesters, and everybody knew they were guilty. They pull your file. They look you up. They don't just jump on you because they heard it. They look at your stuff first. They're thorough in there. He pulled me to the side, And he said, hey, man, you see all them guys sitting together down there? I said, yeah. He goes, you see how we never fuck with them, talk to them? I said, yeah. He goes, you see how you're here with us every day? I said, yeah. He goes, just stop worrying about it, man. Everybody in here knows you didn't do it. Even the fucking inmates I was in there with knew, just by looking at me, talking to me, hearing my story, looking at the police reports and stuff. Even they knew. Just imagine that. Imagine that you're in somewhere. I'm not a criminal, you know? I didn't even know, like when they handed me my indictments, I didn't even know what an indictment was. You know, here's your indictments. I'm like, what's an indictment? Oh, those are your charges. Oh, sorry, I'm not a proficient criminal or anything.
And then like that, everything gets taken away from you.
Yeah.
Your job, your...
Everything. I lost everything. My job, my house, my car, reputation, relationships. One of my best friends of 20 years, a guy who I stuck up for all the time, who got picked on, and nobody picked on him anymore after he was my friend. I was the best man in his wedding. Loved him. Always, you know, kind of a nerdy guy, you know, but we both liked the same things. He was a good dude. I liked him, so we became good friends. First thing I saw when I checked my social media when I got out of jail was him wishing me to get, you know, fucked in prison and go to hell and all kinds of stuff. Not even talking to me first. That's the thing, man. You get accused of something like this, everybody automatically assumes you're guilty. Automatically assumes you did it. People that have known me their whole lives were like, fuck him, you know? And then after I talked to them, they're like, oh, shit, man, sorry. Well, you know, too little, too late, man. Yeah, it's nice that they come around, but do they? You know?
What kind of work were you doing when you lost your job?
I was in charge of shipping and receiving for a large electric car manufacturing plant. And I was thriving really for the first time in my life. I never made more than maybe $50K a year my whole life. And, you know, working in warehouses, labor, driving a forklift, lifting on your feet all day, manual labor type of stuff. And I'd finally worked my way all the way up to running a giant operation. And it took me 40 years to do it. You know, I didn't go to college and all that stuff. Couldn't afford it, you know. Could have done it, but this wasn't in the cards for me. And when I finally had gotten to that point, gone.
And you were getting ready for a raise as well.
I was getting ready for a substantial raise.
Promotion.
I mean, I'd have been living large, big time, you know, 200, 250K. I mean, I was getting ready to buy my first house. I've never owned a home. Never was afforded that. I've never owned a new car. I was literally in the process of doing all those things, had everything picked out. My kids were excited about it. They're like, oh man, we're going to have a new house and a new car. And they were excited for me. And just like that, gone.
Your ex-wife must be happy, or she must have been happy for a while.
She was probably happy for a little while. I don't think she's so happy now. And she might be, because at the end of the day, she still wins. Hurt me in the worst way possible. Took everything from me. Ruined my life. But she ruined it up until November 22nd of 24, when I was found not guilty unanimously by a jury of my peers, who smiled and nodded at me when I finally had brought my face out of my hands, so emotional when I heard them read not guilty 6 times in a row. And I finally got the courage. I didn't want to look at that jury the whole time I was in there. I didn't want them to think I was swaying them or anything. I didn't know what to do. And then I finally looked up and I looked at him, and I saw this old man who sat on the end. He was the jury foreman, I think. I could be wrong about that, but when I looked at him, he just looked at me and kind of gave me one of those. And that was a real validating moment. And then we celebrated real hard that night.
I'll bet.
It was. My family was there with me, and it was pretty awesome.
But the problem remains that the damage was done.
Yeah, it's everlasting damage, you know, and
like you said earlier, the scarlet letter is.
It's there forever, no matter what. And we live in a world now where we see stuff like this way too much. Even in central Illinois, which you're familiar with, Mark, seems like every week somebody's getting charged with a similar crime, and they list all of their charges on the report. He did this, this, and this, and this, and this. In mine, there was none of that.
It makes good news.
Yeah, it makes good news. And unfortunately, a story like mine and this doesn't, because it's not negative. It's not sensationalism.
No, it'll sell ads on the news.
Yeah, no.
So it's a good story for the news station.
It's a good story for internet trolls to go on there and talk a bunch of shit about you and send you messages all the time. How many strangers have taken the time out of their day to harass me about this, and has been pretty bad. They noticed I was out here for this. I got a couple messages yesterday from people telling me I should kill myself, and no matter what I do, and blah, 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 and all this kind of shit.
So you still get these messages even though...
All the time. I'm harassed all the time. And I know who you are. I know who a lot of you are. And they don't harass me to my face. They're cowards. Yeah. But they know it gets to me because they know I'm going through this shit. And they know it gets to me. And I try my damnedest, Mark, to, put my best foot forward and not let it get to me. But it does, man. It does bad.
How old is the daughter who alleged?
She's 13 now. She was just about to turn 10 when this all started. So,
what is your relationship like with her now?
There isn't one. I wasn't allowed to speak or talk to her. When I was released from jail on bond, I wasn't allowed to even be around anybody under 18. They tried to keep me from my other kids. But luckily for me, their moms knew I didn't do it, believed in me, supported me the whole way.
So your kids are with different moms?
Yeah. All three of my kids are with different moms.
That's right.
Just the way I planned it, right? No. Shit happens. And they have been behind me so much. They still are. A month after I was out, they appeared in court and said, we don't want these restrictions. We don't think Matt did this. We want him in our kids' lives. They've been behind me big time, and they know how much I appreciate them for that too.
That's great.
And it's just, there isn't a relationship, Mark. I don't really know what to do about it. I don't know if I can do anything about it at this point. I hadn't seen her in so long. When she took the stand and testified, I didn't even know who I was looking at. I didn't even recognize her anymore. So much she grew, in the couple of years since I'd seen her. I didn't. And when she was in there, I looked at her as much as I could because I was pretty sure that was the last time. And the hole that leaves in my heart every single day of my life will never go away. Because the last time I really saw her as 9 years old, saying goodbye on her last visit over New Year's going into 22, spent a great weekend together, hung out with friends, nothing wrong happened at all. It was a pleasant time. We were really happy to see each other. And she left, all right, goodbye, and, all that. And then everything was different after that. That's the last time I really saw her, except for being in court. I don't know what to do about it. It might not even be possible. My family's really hesitant of it. My other children's parents are very hesitant of it. And as much as I love my daughter, I did lose everything. I didn't almost lose everything. I did. I'm on a comeback now. But what do you do? You can think about it until you're blue in the face. There's no answer to this. I'm damned if I do, and I'm damned if I don't, forever. If I don't have a relationship with her, I'm just a deadbeat dad. If I do, I'm setting myself up for maybe this happening again. I don't know. Do I want her in my life? Of course I do. But is it possible? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
The unbalance of how damning that as you said, scarlet letter is when you get accused of this or have to go through all of the jail time and the news media and all the social media stuff, I'm sure. And then there's the undoing of that. The undoing of that is nothing compared to the damage that was done.
No. And
when you're acquitted.
How do you do it? Somebody tell me how. But if there's anybody who can turn a nightmare like this into a dream come true, it's me, and that's what I plan to do. And there have been a lot of good things happening lately. I've managed to kind of go viral on YouTube on my own, luckily, with my music. I'm a professional musician. I've been playing instruments since I was in kindergarten. It's my passion. It's what I've wanted to do. Quite frankly, Mark, what I want to do is what you do. And I feel like I have the capability and the know-how and just the aptitude and the talent and the ability to do it. But I need opportunity, and that's just all been taken away until you came along, man, until now. So I'm kind of at this crossroads in my life where, all I thought about the whole time was, God, I can't wait till this is over. I can't wait to get my life back. It's going to be so great. I'm going to get right back out there. I'm going to show everybody. And now that I'm free, I don't know what the hell to do with myself. I'm depressed, anxious. I mean, I have bipolar depression on top of it. And so compound with a situation like this, it's crippling, man. I can hardly leave the house. I can hardly function or do anything. I want to so bad, but I can't. I'm just mentally blocked from everything.
What does it do to a man when he gets accused of this? Even though it's not true, even though the courts found out it's not true, it still has got a way. It's got to be this dark cloud that follows you.
It's it's damage that just never goes away. It gets a little better. I have I have so many great people in my life, man, right now. Friends and family who have supported me from day one. They still do. And that helps. That gives me a lot of strength, and it kind of picks me up. But at the end of the day, I'm sitting there at the house by myself all the time, stuck in here. And I don't know where to start or where to begin. And, you can only apply for so many jobs that ignore you. And they take a look at these stupid charges that I'm acquitted of that are still there. And, you call the court or you talk to your attorney. It's like, it's going to be, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 just to get them to go hit a delete button. I'll never come up with that. I'll never have that kind of money unless things take off for me or whatever. It's going to take a long time. And it's like, I can't get a job because of it. And I can't, it's vice versa. It's just, you flip it, you flip-flop it. And I can't come up with the money to get it off my record because I can't get a job, and I can't get a job because the shit's still on my record. And I don't blame employers for that. I've hired hundreds of people in my life. And if I would have saw something like that, maybe I would have been like, it's
safer not to hire them.
It's safer not to. And, it's hard enough to, do they go, let's call this guy in for an interview and take a look at him? No. And so now I'm almost forced to pursue my dream of being my own boss and a content creator and a pro musician. I've dedicated my life to music. I'm pretty good at it. And I've started to really work hard at that because what other options do I have? I can't get hired anywhere else. I was a top level executive at one point, and now, McDonald's probably won't even hire me by looking at this shit. I don't have a choice but to make a success of myself now. And it's hard. Being a musician isn't, what everybody thinks. You don't make any money. Like I might make a couple bucks here and there if somebody buys an album, or, even the big artists with millions of streams, everybody knows about that, Spotify, they don't even get paid. Taylor Swift gets paid like $10,000 for 1 billion streams or something. It's ridiculous. And So I'm even in a profession that it's so hard to make a success of. I'm just like, Mark, I'm caught in a void. I'm in this void, this like force field that surrounds me. And no matter what I do, it just all circles back and it just all kind of keeps me trapped in this bubble. It's like, I can't do any right.
Who was, of your family or friends, was there anyone that was really a good support?
Oh man, all of them. My best friend, Nikki, took out loans, used money from the sale of her house. She's gave me a place to live. I mean, she's been my rock through all this. And she's just a friend, you know? Like, we're not romantically involved at all. We're just,
beautiful.
You know? And she's going to be happy to hear that. So hi, Nikki. And my mom and dad have been there so much. So many friends, man. So many good friends. My friends, the Olsons in Morris, Illinois, have been by me so big time. Ah, man, just there's a lot. There's a lot.
It's nice to have people that see who you really are and are helpful and supportive.
That's been a source of hope for me because I hear that a lot. And, you know, if I was such a piece of shit and a monster, why would my whole community rally behind me and help me? And they have. And they have since the beginning. And yeah, I've got a couple haters here and there. I mean, who doesn't? I mean, they crawl out of the woodwork a little bit. You know, they see something. There's guys that just like, there's people that are so miserable out there.
That's just social media.
You know, they're so miserable with their own lives that they have to try to make you miserable too. And they see a guy like me that has no choice but to be, and they just like, oh, let's fuck with Matt, you know?
What was your darkest point?
My darkest point, I mean, I'd say probably about a year after I was out, I fell into a really, really bad depression. Like I could hardly even get out of bed or anything. It took everything. I used to be vibrant. I used to be like way eccentric, over the top. People would tell me to, you know, slow down and stuff. I'm an entertainer. I always have everybody laughing and joking. I'm a kind, generous guy. This whole thing, it stole my whole spirit. It took everything from me. I don't even know who I am anymore. That's what it did to me. And I was just laying there every day and couldn't get up, couldn't do anything. And that's not me, man. Yeah, I've suffered with depression and I've had my bouts with it and stuff before, so it wasn't really a new thing. But on a whole different level that you can't even imagine, because all you are left with is just you're trapped in here. And I thought about offing myself plenty of times. Planned it, had it all mapped out. Knew exactly what I was going to do. But what stopped me from doing it was I've got 2 kids that do want me in their lives, that love me more than anything, that can't wait to be there with me every time. And people that commit suicide are selfish, and all they end up doing is hurting everybody else way more than you were. And it hurts me so bad to see everybody hurt for me already. So I couldn't do that. And I've never given up on a damn thing in my life. And I'm not going to do it now. But I came pretty close. And and when you're in a depression like that, and you get messages from trolls telling you to do it, almost pushed me over the edge. A couple times.
It's so easy for an angry ex-wife to create something like this, isn't it? No, I'm not saying that's what happened. But
I want everybody out there to listen to this. This could happen to any one of you. Words, just words alone. This could be you. Somebody could say you did this, and they will throw the book at you. Mark, they wanted to give me 148 years in prison. 148, okay? No evidence, no witnesses. The police didn't even do an investigation. Did they talk to any of those potential witnesses, my other kids or the other people that were supposedly around when it happened? No, they didn't talk to them. Did they talk to my children? No, they didn't do anything. Detective Kurt Moss, the McLean County Sheriff's Department, didn't do a damn thing. He sat and waited until he could pester a grand jury to come up with the charges. He admitted it on the stand. There was no investigation. They didn't search my phone. They didn't search my apartment. They didn't search my internet history. They did nothing. They didn't even talk to me. They didn't do anything. Then I get arrested. I'm in jail. I get out. Then the prosecutor gets it. And all the state of Illinois, the McLean County State's Attorney's Office, all they did was stall. Me and my lawyer were ready to go to trial from day one. We were the only ones who presented any evidence or did anything. The prosecutor, my lawyer didn't tell me this until after my trial. They came to him a few months before the final trial date and said, hey, this case is weak. You know, the prosecutor assigned to prosecute me said, I'm going to go to the head state's attorney and I'm going to see if we can drop this case, man. Like, let's get him out of here. He took it to the head state's attorney. Her name's Erica Reynolds in McLean County. She said, I'd rather you try him and lose than drop the charges because I don't want it to look bad on us politically. And that prosecutor told my lawyer that, who then, he didn't tell, I was kind of like, for like that brief second, I was like, you didn't tell me about, oh, I see why you didn't tell me about that, because I would have flipped out. You know, I'd have been like, oh my God, like that would have been a much more obsessive last 3 months or 3 or 4 months, whatever it was, before it went through. But even the goddamn prosecutor knew. But when it was time for trial, he tried to burn me as hard as he could. That's his job. My lawyer kept telling me, Matt, don't take it personally. I'm like, if he tried to drop these charges, why is he trying so hard to put me away? He's like, that's what they want him to do. He's doing his job. That's a hard pill to swallow. I get it. I understood it. But it's kind of hard to understand when you're sitting there, an innocent man, and there's a guy trying his damnedest to lock you up for life for something you didn't do. So forgive me for, not being so receptive to that idea.
It's a tough story,
rough, isn't it?
It's a tough story to hear.
It's a tough story to tell, no matter how many times I've told it. And all I want is redemption. I know I have a lot to offer this world. I know I'm a super talented guy, and I've worked really hard. You know, I found out at a young age that I was blessed with a lot of ability, and I worked my ass off my whole life. I wasn't a kid who really played outside a lot. I was in my basement playing the drums for 8 hours a day, playing the guitar, learning piano. I taught myself everything. And I dedicated my life to it, and I never had rock star dreams. I just wanted to do what I loved for a living. If I made $30,000 a year playing the guitar, I'd feel like a millionaire. Because that's what I'm supposed to do. And then I had a hard enough time making it before this, and now with this happening, now what do I do? Well, I guess I do this.
I think the world will probably get this might rival the attention that your original accusations got.
And that would be great. I'm not asking anybody for anything. All I wanted this whole time was to be heard, and I was never heard once. I was locked up, I was put through all this, and my voice was never heard. My voice wasn't heard until I took the witness stand. That's the first time I ever got to speak on my own behalf, the first time I ever got to even remotely defend myself this whole time. When I was on the witness stand, took the stand in my own defense, looked the jury in the face, emphatically denied everything. And I think when they saw that, I think that's when they knew, And now this opportunity came up, and I've been, I struggled with if this was a good idea or not. I really did. But my voice needed to be heard, and I started thinking about everybody else out there. I started thinking about all the other families that have reached out to me that have gone through this. I've been reached out to by organizations in Canada, the UK, that want to talk to me about this, gave me strength. Anybody out there that's gone through this, I'm here for you. I'm an advocate for you now. I'm kind of in line to be a top advocate in Illinois now. Everybody's kind of encouraging me to do it. And you know what? I'm pretty passionate about it now. I live in the state where there's the most wrongful convictions in the entire country.
Really?
There's almost 600 exonerees in the state of Illinois who were convicted, jailed, and then later released when it was proven they were innocent. Now, guys that get charges like me, I was actually lucky. Think about this. Completely innocent. They got nothing on you. And I was lucky to come out of this on top because everybody gets convicted of this. Well, I was so worried about this the whole time, Mark. This is what I was worried about with the jury. The little girl said he did it. How can we go against that? That's scary because why wouldn't they? Right? And then you get messages from people saying, you mean to tell me that this girl just made it up and blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I don't know if she made it up. I don't know if she fell in with her group of alleged victims, because I wasn't the only person she accused. She accused many others. She's got TikTok posts saying, me and my friend were sold to a sex trafficking ring. This other guy did this. The boyfriend her mom moved to Minnesota to be with, she accused him too. I wasn't the only one. I didn't find all this out until later. And I'm like, why isn't anybody looking at this? I supplied all that to them. They didn't give a shit. The jury did, though. They sure the fuck did. When my lawyer was giving his closing statements, he said something that kind of stuck with me. He goes, did the state present one bit of evidence to you? No. Because I shared text messages and stuff between us, and because we actually had some contact with each other, me and my daughter, for the few months before my arrest. There was no restrictions on anything yet. And I tried to talk sense into her and ask her what was going on and why they did this. And they tried to turn that against me, that I was trying to get her to change her mind or whatever. Of course I was, because she wasn't telling the truth. I was trying to reason with my daughter because she does. I don't even think she still knows the level of destruction that was caused by this. Maybe someday she will. I don't know. But my lawyer said, you know about this because Matt's the one that presented this evidence. Like, they tried to use messages that I share between my daughter against me. The state didn't tell you to show you that. Matt did. The state didn't do this. Matt showed you this. Matt's the only person who provided any lick of evidence in this whatsoever. Can you believe that, Mark? They took it that far on hearsay. That far. All the way. Trial. Every state's attorney in the building was sitting on the other side of the courtroom, watching, because they had no family of theirs show up. There was nobody showed up on their side. No one. I take that back. Her mom showed up for one day. No family, nobody supported them, but every state's attorney in the building in that McLean County courthouse was sitting on the other side of the courtroom. And I saw my lawyer talk to one of them, and I said, who the hell are all those people? He goes, oh, that's every state's attorney in the building. I said, what the hell are they doing here? He goes, because they're afraid of me. I kind of laughed it off. Ha ha. Okay, Kevin Sanborn, love you. I'll be damned if he wasn't right. He was. And I want to thank him too. Johnson Law Group in Central Illinois really worked hard for me and believed in me from day one. And they were not going to settle for anything less than not guilty. And they gave me a lot of time. Believe me, I was bothering them as much as possible. And man, $60,000 later that I didn't have. It was a big help. Imagine if I didn't have an attorney.
You'd probably still be sitting in jail.
I'd be in jail. I'd probably be convicted and spending life in prison right now for something I didn't do. It's sad, man. It wouldn't have been hopeless, but your chances go up dramatically. Like, if I would have never bonded out of jail, I probably would have got convicted because I wouldn't have been able to work so hard and fight my case. If I would have been trapped in there, hell, I might have gave up. I might have pleaded. I might have said, just fucking get this over with. I would have went crazy. I was there for 65 days, and I was going crazy in there as it is. Imagine a couple of years. Somebody like me, who's already kind of cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs at times anyway, you know? It's just like you can't even wrap your head around it, you know? It's hard. It's really hard.
All right. Matt Huett, thank you so much for flying out here to share your story.
Thank you so much, Mark. This is a tremendous opportunity. Keep doing what you're doing. You help people like me out there. You're giving people a lot of strength. And, you know, for such a dark instance, this brings me some light. And I think now you gave me closure, man.
You deserve it.
You really helped me. So thank you.
All right, Matt. When I was designing the first Soft-White Underbelly book, I realized that there were so many great portraits that weren't going to make it into that book. They just wouldn't fit. And once I saw how well that first book sold, I knew I'd have to design a second book. This second book is finally ready to ship. Like the first one, this book has a collection of some of the best portraits from Soft-White Underbelly, accompanied by a quote from that person's interview. This book features another group of Rebecca portraits, as well as a collection of color images of the Whitaker family, and plenty of others. You can order yours for $125 or $150 for a signed copy at softwhiteunderbelly.org. Again, like the first book, once this book is sold out, I will not be printing more of them. The portraits are what Soft-White Underbelly is all about, and these two books contain the best of all that work. Thank you for watching.